Good morning. This is Norma Cowie with a Sunday thought. As always, when I get up on a Sunday, it's like, oh, what inspiration hits me today? And I began to realize that January, which seems to be moving a little faster than usual, and I know several friends have also said that to me. Have you noticed January going a little faster? But it had me think a little bit about endings. This is the second to last Sunday. Next week is the last Sunday. Had me think about beginnings and endings of how on earth they happen. And so I just drew for some inspiration around that, and I pulled my little insight God card, and it says, I now have deep within me and all around me all the resources I need. And on the other side, it says, it's time for an esteem bath. And someone's lying back with a big smile in the bath. Love yourself, honor yourself, and appreciate yourself. So then picked up a little angel card. What does it say? Birth. Well, that kind of fitted in the thought that I was going to have. Then I picked up a tarot card, Ten of Swords, the ending of an issue. But there are no endings. There are only beginnings. And it is the beginnings very often that we perhaps don't know how to totally appreciate, perceive, or aware. So I was thinking as I put in my things, where does every idea come from? Where does every thought come from? Where does every feeling come from? They all have a beginning. And in particular, decisions. Now, because of being a past life regressionist and many, many regressions over the years for people, realize that very often many of the feelings and decisions that we have come from another time period, not only past but future as well. But mostly we think of things as being past because that's the roadway that we walk on. And when we get up every morning, as I did this morning, and awaken the day, some thoughts that I had, because last night our last Canadian mail went out in the Australian tennis. It was like, sat up late to watch it, but it was not his best performance in the world, but it's always sad to see them go out when it's getting close to the end and the games are really, really good. All games are pretty good that time because all the better players are meeting, and there's a lot of new players coming on the scene that we haven't seen at this level before. So life in itself, how do we handle that there's changes? And I think very often we do not consider change. We do not consider that there could be an ending. We do not consider that all things come to an end at some point of change, because we're only in a very little microscopic dot in the timelines of all things in this particular incarnation, this particular awareness that we have. So are our thoughts supporting us? Are our feelings understood? Are our sense of progression in the time and space that there are, or is around us, I should say, that's more grammatically correct. It's a conundrum as you become older, because you realize your time is running out in a way. It's getting closer and closer, and you never really know when that is going to happen. You do not know what day or night that's going to be, and all you can choose that it's not too horrendous, that it's gentle and easy. Which every time I hear a story that is, someone just went to sleep, I always say, "Oh, way to go." Now, endings. We have endings in our lives. I'm sure as soon as you're in your mid-30s, for sure, if not way before, you have had certain friendships break up, changes happen. You may have moved. I mean, as a child, I know we moved at my husband and I and the children moved when they were around 10 and 8. Big move, like a whole district move. And then we were in the same house until many years later. So change, how do we handle change? How do we perceive change? And we have changes of thought, we have changes of feelings, we have changes of decisions. And so how do we put a decision on top of a decision a decision that we've made when we're very little about this is how the life is. I run into this a lot in my transformation work, that people have a picture of how life is supposed to be. Now, how they got that could be from many, many different ways. It could be how their lives were, how their parents lived, what was understood as being the quote correct way. And then you run head on to realize this isn't working. What is, what's the matter, what's happened, what's taken place. And the key often is just a matter of being aware of what it is you're actually creating and what you're doing. Life is supposed to be, from my perspective, joyous. We haven't had a lot of joy, particularly in the last couple of years. I'm the opposite, in fact. And so how do we bring that back into our lives? Things to be happy about, things to be joyous about, things to celebrate. Celebration is incredibly important. And how do we reflect the essence of our lives and where we are and where we're heading and where we're going? Traditionally, over time, Sunday was always the day of rest. Some religions have Saturday. I understand that. But one day of rest a week. Some people today work all through the weekends, and their day of supposed rest is maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or any other day of the week. But do we rest? Do we take that as a time out? There always seems to be something to be done. And often, believe it or not, if you have an occupation, a job, or whatever, and it's similar, like every day, say for it to be have a day off could be to do something very, very different. It doesn't mean necessarily a day of rest where you're just, not doing anything. It's a day of doing something that inspires you, where you feel much more at one and comfortable. I was thinking of the person who likes tinkering with cars, and on their day of rest, they go out and work on a car. Or can be like, for me, a day of rest is I'll go to a movie, which has been a bit rare lately, I'll admit. But it's still, it's different. It's something different. It's something to inspire. Yesterday, I took a neighbor and who doesn't get out much, and we went for a drive. And we went in some roads I hadn't been down for quite some time, and we drove around and then we came back. So it was like, that was very restful. It was very peaceful. We stopped for a while and looked at the lake, and the ice is all melted now there. But up on the hills, there was a lot of snow on the hills and on the trees. And this morning I woke up and looked outside, and there's snow on our ground again. So, there's this excitement of awareness, of beingness. It's a new day. Is it a new thought? Or are you living in your old thinking and your old thoughts and your old feelings? Growth, personal growth, which has always been important to me, is an ongoing thing where you have a situation happen and you may want to revert back to your traditional way of handling it. Or you could think, maybe there's a different way I can handle this. It's always about, feeling wise, is knowing your feelings, and from my perspective, naming the feelings. So you're knowing very, very aware and very clear where you are. So you name the feeling and you choose a behavior that maybe is a little different than you normally would do. Emotions are another story. And I'm talking about that on Wednesday in Norma Talks. But anyway, wish you a great Sunday. I wish you a Sunday to some way that you're doing something different than usual. And it does feel like rest. It's away from the basic day-by-day routine. You have a great Sunday. Oh, I forgot to put my thought in there. So I want you to think about that. Are you on like an automaton? This is what I do this day and that day and the other day. Do you have new thoughts? Do you have new awarenesses? Are you aware of your feelings? Are you making different choices of what to do with them? I wish you well. Have a great day. And again, thank you to all those who have subscribed, who share, and who make comments. I appreciate every one of them. Bless you. Thank you. Have a great day.